because everything depends on the intro. Tell Ken and Kathy and Shai and Kevin, everybody in the other, everything we said so far, and then we'll do it.
Not afraid of the sky.
Oops.
Well, here's what we
That's
did.
right.
First question I said,
Wait. At least I'll record this.
oh no, it's all over.
It's all over.
You got it, brother.
No, it's okay. Don't worry about it.
Here, I'll move so they can come in here.
When you hit the fan, it's all over,
The
right?
first question was, what are you thinking about right now? Then they told me some things they were thinking about, which was really profound. And then I said, what are you thinking about on a deeper level? What's rolling around in your brain? And there's some really serious stuff came on. And then finally, bottom line, what are you really thinking about on the deepest level? Everyone agreed the most important thing going on in their brain, always, whether you're aware of it or not, whether it's on the top of your brain or the bottom of the middle, is what? Most important, deep level. What was it?
Jesus.
And
Salvation of the lost.
yeah, you want to go to heaven and take as many as you can with you. So then we were saying it just takes a holy rewiring of your brain sometimes, or brain surgery, if you will, just to get you start thinking more appropriately about yourself and others and the whole kingdom thing. And so remember the Jonathan Edwards' great-great-grandnephew? Where did he go? Here's a way I think we're going to do some brain surgery today to retool, rewire your brain so you can get your wish. What's your wish? You can tell people about Jesus. Remember the two questions we started with? Remember the two questions Edwards brings up? What are they?
What are you doing right now that could not be duplicated by a non-believer?
No matter how hard they tried, write that one down and smoke it. What are you doing right now that could not be duplicated by an unbeliever no matter how hard they tried? And then secondly, what does he ask? What blatant evidence of the supernatural God has leaked out of your life recently? So check this out. Get your library card and check this out. Talk about rewiring our brains so that that stuff happens. I think what God's going to do for me, and maybe for you if you need it, is do some brain surgery. I mean, I know how to do brain surgery. Don't worry. I mean, don't let the scissors and the stapler freak you out. I've read this magazine, it's 7 Easy Steps. I can do brain surgery. I've been given a gift. I'm qualified.
Stayed at a Holiday Inn Express last night.
That's it. Kansas City.
Yeah.
Picked up the magazine in Kansas City. I'm now qualified to do brain surgery on myself and others. Where's that stapler, okay? You guys ready? Who's first? Come on up. Who's first? Edwards suggests the way your brain might need to get rewired is being delivered, or letting your brain be delivered from the false gospel that says the gospel is about don't do it, or morality, or not sinning. The gospel of sin management, several people call it. Probably most Americans, in the back of their mind, if you've been raised up in church, you think the gospel is accept Jesus so you don't sin. Mere morality is a garden where the weeds have been pulled, but nothing has taken their place. It's a bare plot of land containing nothing wrong, but exhibiting nothing that catches the eye. Godliness is a garden where the weeds have been pulled, and the flora of heaven is clearly blooming. We're not only to refrain from the wrong, we're also to reflect the supernaturally right. We're not only to refrain from the wrong, we're called to reflect the supernaturally right. And here's the secret. Here's where my brain needs to get rewired. This is where the element of surprise becomes so crucial. So here's what I'll be praying. For God to rewire my brain so I work according to not the gospel of morality, but the gospel of surprise. When our highest goal is to keep our noses clean, when our spiritual agenda consists of keeping ourselves back from sin, about the best thing that can happen is people become impressed with our integrity and uprightness. But the reality is we've done what only good Muslims, Jews, and even atheists do every day. Edwin Lutzer writes about a portion of Chicago that has 160,000 quite distinguished inhabitants. And I quote Lutzer now. None drinks a drop of liquor. Not a one smokes. Not one dances. Not a one goes to the movies. I mentioned that to a friend. He said he would really like to visit this section of the city, maybe even more, move there. I told him that someday that might actually be possible. The area of the city, however, is Rose Hill Cemetery. You see, some who define the Christian life define it by what they don't do, and they miss the point. To genuinely glorify God requires walking the extra mile beyond morality. If a Roman soldier compelled a Jew to carry his backpack for 1 mile, then 1 mile was all he needed to go. No rabbi would have commanded anything more. But what Jesus told his followers in essence was this: there'll be no surprise factor. Rewire my brain, God. I need the surprise factor in your life if you only go 1 mile. God has placed you on this earth for something far grander than just responsible living and dutifully doing what you're commanded. He stationed you here to know him intimately and to be his living, breathing marketing agency. And if you do only what's required, you won't get anyone's attention. Even worse, their attention will stop at you. So instead, without complaining, take that soldier's backpack and walk a full extra mile before you give it back to him. Is that fair? Of course not. But none of us is here to be treated fairly. We're here to draw attention to the God who drips with the most unfair thing in the universe. You finished the sentence. Grace.
Amen.
So if I could just be rewired and retooled, and my brain and my soul and my spirit could just be so flooded with that surprise factor, so that stuff leaks out of me without me even trying. You know, it's not about what you don't do. It's not even about what you, if you pardon the pun, do. Even though Paul says in several of his letters, don't do this, don't do that, and do that. Take off this and put this on. But once you get beyond that, on the deepest level, you'll be leading people to Jesus without even trying, if that surprise factor of going the extra mile or doing something blatantly supernatural, or, remember, what in the world are you doing right now, this week, even today, that couldn't be duplicated by an unbeliever, no matter how hard they tried? We suggested some supernatural things. Scott mentioned prayer, which is amazing. Sonia talked about being free of the fear of death, which the Bible promises we have. And so picture in your mind, if you will, one person you know, as far as you know, they're still a pre-Christian. You may want to write it down so you can pray for them and let your brain be rewired to bless them so you can leak out on them. God, just show us, each of us, anyone that's in our life that we'd like to be blatantly supernatural in front of so they can find Jesus.
Amen.
God, speak to us. We're going to listen for a few minutes till we have that person focused.